Here we go, Dance Art Festival. We have some more guests right here. This side from the people from the floor, working hard, sweating hard. I feel with me Bgirl, Loopis and Bboy Äleks. Make some noise out there at home. You too, you're from one crew, you're from Flowjob. First of all, how did you start dancing? What was the initial move, the idea, the concept? When did you start dancing? Tell us a story.
When we start chronologically, Äleks has to start.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, first of all, I gotta say that my whole life, in the very beginning, I was hyperactive. So, and I was watching TV a lot. And there was MTV, and there was something like, do you know this the song? Look at all these rumors, they remind me every day. I just need some time. And you could see Storm there spinning on his head. And at this time, I was following all the rap and R&B music clips. So I was just trying to figure out how to move the same way they move. And at the same time, there was like a guy at the house where I live, and he could do a handstand. And there was another guy doing a headspin in the youth club I was hanging out. It was like 150 meters from my home. And then there was this crew practicing there. So that was one beautiful day when I realized that there's a breaking crew at the spot where I hang out. And then I just introduced myself. I did a flip when two guys were just dressing up and getting clothes on. Yeah, and that's the point where I started to practice. So yeah, and it was 2000 when hip hop blew Germany out of its context. So there was this big hype, and for me it was like the typical Four Elements thing. So I just bought magazines, listened to rap music, tried to do graffiti, blah blah blah, that kind of background.
And I started dancing a bit later, or at least breaking around 2005. I did some hip-hop classes in this dance school, choreography dance the years before with Detlef D. Soest. I don't know if you know about it, the D's Dance Club. And then actually my brother pushed me a lot towards the breaking. He's been in the hip-hop scene for a longer time. He's my older brother. He's been included with rap music and graffiti a lot, and he kept telling me to go breaking. So I started to research and found one school, and Cooney was teaching there, a b-boy from Fresh and Attack, one of the older generations from Saxony. And there I started for a couple months, then he quit the class, and I found about the free training spots in Leipzig. So yeah, 2005 with Cooney.
Yay, that's a good start, better than the other start, actually. What about Flowjob? How did you meet each other? Who was the founder of the crew? What was the inspiration to have a crew that's not based in only one city, but maybe spread around different areas?
It just grew organically. Like we started the crew in 2008. It was a project to participate at the Battle of the East. Back in the days, there was this the division of Battle of the East, Battle of the South, blah, blah. So we just wanted to participate there, and there was this guy from another town who was studying in our town, Saman, and an OG for us of our hometown. He's like 9 years older than me, Chris Rock. And we just came out, started battling, and in 2014, like we started to organize jams and battles, 2012. And in 2014, there was this event we organized once a month with the focus on gender aspects. So we tried to invite Bgirls and have a panel about the history of Bgirling, female breaking in Germany. And in this context, we invited Loopis, and then we fell in love with each other. On a platonic breaking specific level, and from that onwards we danced together and built a friendship.
Yeah, basically I came there and I enjoyed it so much to be with the crew there. that I tried to find a way to sneak myself in the crew. And did an internship in the city for a while, and then we grew together a bit more. Yeah.
Great. Crazy. Question for you, Loopi, is especially in breaking is like the toughest and more taking dance style. And for Bgirl, it's like, you know, crazy. How is the acceptance in the German dance scene? Like, do you feel like Bgirl should be more supported? Do you feel like disrespect at battles? Or do you say that doesn't really care for you? Like, everybody has to do their thing, and as long as the personality is there, that's enough? What's your point?
It's always a question, because of course, if you see the percentages, there's a lot more B-boys compared to B-girls. When I started, there were even less B-girls. I have the feeling it's growing a lot more towards becoming kind of more equal numbers. There's even sometimes practices where there's more B-girls than B-boys. That never happened when I started. And I would say nowadays the acceptance is much higher. Of course, there's always some people disagreeing with B-girls breaking, but I would say that's really not a lot of people. So I would say the acceptance is quite good. I even have a lot of friends and dancers that at the moment say they enjoy B-girling more than B-boying, because it's more this upcoming strength where it's still a little bit younger and a different energy compared to the B-boying. So yeah, I would say nowadays it has a good support and there's more events. I think now we slowly have to wait for the point where we really combine both together and don't need these B-girl events separately to show that we exist, but kind of just have the equality and the togetherness in it.
We already talked about this in the discussion round, that you two also have the point of that we have to get somehow back to jamming and more like partying together instead of just running battles all the time. And especially in east of Germany, like we have like Berlin, and we're always isolated because you have West Germany, South Germany. They're very much connected within each other. How is this in East Germany? Like you from Magdeburg, you from Leipzig. There always been connections to each other, or do you have always traveled far to meet the next guy to find people who you can practice with?
Yeah, I really cannot say anything which you could transfer to a more general perspective, because my situation is very specific. I actually don't want to go anywhere because I just want to practice. And during the week, I do so much that I don't want to go anywhere, spend money, I'm broke. So I just want to spend time home and do my research at home. So, but I would say that there is definitely a big linkage to each other. Like we are very familiar and kin to each other. Like we really like each other when it comes to the Saxons and other crews and Kaputtmachers in East Germany, Potsdam, Leipzig, Dresden, Chemnitz. I was just recently in Chemnitz practicing with Anton. Yeah, there is a big connection, but in my case, it depends on my free time and the budget for traveling and the space in my head. Because sometimes the traveling is nice, but I've collected so much information the last 10 years. I don't need to travel anymore because I need that time to digest it and to practice this shit. So yeah, but still, I would say yes, that there is a connection. Of course, you can expand it. You can do more projects together, more cooperations. But to this point, it is a big it changed for better.
Yeah, I can actually just agree. I think especially when it comes to smaller events, I would say in East Germany we support each other, and then people really travel to come to the events, and it's a very friendly atmosphere with everyone. And a good support. I would always say, no matter who I would ask for support, they would all be down to help.
That's nice. Let's talk a little bit about Queen 16, which you are the organizer of. Mm-hmm. And this is a female Bgirl battle that actually came from Seattle. Is that right? It came from Seattle, and now it's here. How did that connection come together, and what's the point of it?
a couple of years back, I think in 2014, I was invited to go to that battle. It's an invite battle where 16 Bgirls take part from all over the world, come together to just take part in a regular 1v1 battle. And it's an organization called Outshine Productions from one of my friends from Seattle and one of my friends from Sacramento that are both in Flexible Flav, one of the other crews I'm in. And I got to know them back then, and the idea just came up that maybe in Europe this kind of battle would work much better than in America, because actually in the States, breaking and especially B-girling is very small at the moment. There's not so many B-girls, they don't travel so much. So we decided we would try it in Europe. And since I'm from Leipzig and used to live there before, me and Eve, one of my good friends from Leipzig, decided to try it out. And with the help, of course, of Tim and Abe, the two guys I just talked about, we just started creating the event in Leipzig in 2015 for the first time. And since then, we've been doing it every year. And it's working really well.
Nice. And the next one will be?
In Berlin. In May, at the end of May. I think weekend May 30th, and I moved to Berlin, and we grew with the organization team. We have Yalda, one of the BC1 organizers in the team now, Hannah, another former B-girl, now a dancing queen from Berlin, and and Tina, another B-girl from Berlin. So we are 5 people now organizing it, just to be able to digest everything we have to do.
Great.
Smoother.
And it's good it's coming to Berlin, like the year. We're gonna be there for sure.
Yeah, you're all very welcome.
We will come. Alex, do you teach, or do you do like classes, or do you give knowledge in youth centers for the youngest generation? What's your output for the next generation out there?
It's actually my job. I was studying social sciences and did a bachelor in social work. And for the last 7 years, I've been teaching in different kinds of projects. For example, I did a Aktion Mensch, a funded social inclusion project where I coached, built up, and managed a intercultural crew of people, of refugee kids and kids without a refugee background, when you say it like this. Yeah, and I did workshops and taught at school, at other social funded projects. And now this is my job. I'm hired as a dance pedagogue in a something like a youth house. There's a project called Blue Box in Berlin, which is actually the role model of our project. And there I'm just teaching dance and organize everything around a community organizing based activism when it comes to dancing. So I try to combine both things like social work and dancing. Yeah.
But you're also an active dancer. You go to battles, you battle?
I was battling a lot till 2016, 17, and then there was the point where I gathered so much information and got so diligent with working and broke that I don't travel and battle that much. And also I have this shift towards hip hop and other funk styles because my relationship to break music, to breaking music or the music that is played on competitions, most of the competitions in general, I'm not. I don't feel it that much anymore. That's the reason why I also don't go to break events that much, because why are you going to a music-based event if the music doesn't drive you, right? So there are some changes right now.
Good point. Yesterday we also talked about, like, if you go to a battle and there's not even a place or area to jam, what you can do after then going home if you're done with your job, right? You can sit in your audience, but that's also the point, like, this is not like a jam where a battle happens. Mostly it's a battle where maybe a jam also happens. And that's a point of focus. And as we speak about battles, maybe you cannot hear it anymore, but I gotta ask, Loopy, you won the Red Bull BC1 Germany Cypher last year. What was that experience like? Did you expect that? Did you practice for it? How was it?
But actually, yeah, it's actually probably not as you expect. I didn't really practice for it. I started working at the Charité as a doctor last September. That was, I think, about a month before BC1 was happening in Berlin, and I knew that already, and I knew that my shifts were going to be really long and I would have to work a lot and I wouldn't really know what to expect. So I thought, okay, if I will find the time, I would go there, and if not, then maybe no. And actually, I got really lucky, and I could leave work in time that day, and I made it to the qualification and just took part and got lucky. The next day were the finals, and I guess maybe that was really good for me, because sometimes at big events I know that I pressure myself a lot, and that usually is not very useful in battle situations. Usually it's much better if you don't care too much about it. And I guess there was the luck on my side, and it was a really interesting experience for me, because I'm usually drawn towards exactly what we were saying before, towards the cypher jams and just these kind of events that are usually smaller and with a different focus, not so much on the competition and not so much on winning. And there I won and went to the finals in Mumbai in India. And it was just interesting to see, because there I would say were a lot more dancers that are really competition-based dancers and care a lot about it. And for me, it was just interesting to see how these people interact with each other. And there was not a really family vibe that I really like usually about events that I go to, even bigger events that I go to, international events that I sometimes go to, that my crew throw. For example, Funky Fresh in Modena in Italy is one of these events. It's really big, but it's still a very, very family-based event where it's more about the community. You have a whole weekend together, and there we had a lot of days together, and there was some kind of exchange, but it just felt very different and felt more distant from each other. So it was interesting for me to see, and definitely you grow from it, because you prepare for an event in a special way, and you have to think how to prepare your sets and everything. So physically, it's, I would say, a good experience. And also it's good to be part of it once. But I would say what I get out of the hip-hop community is not these big events. Yeah.
Man, I wish more for role models like you two and like Salman. Maybe that's why Flowjob is a good thing to be there. That's not only for like the battle and the success, but for the things behind, the deeper meaning of things. So thank you for being here. Definitely, we're gonna link all the information about Flowjob and Queen 16 down there. Go there, check it out, and check them out dancing. Peace.